In today's video, we talk about if you should do your cardio before or after you train with weights.
By myself.
In today's video, we talk about if you should do your cardio. Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella, ProPhysique.com. In today's video, I am back home in my home gym, and I've been having some echo issues in here, so I'm actually doing the video with the garage door open. It's really the only way to solve the issues, even though it's a little hot and humid out. It's a little earlier in the day so I can get the video done. Now, if you're only interested in watching this video for the topic about when you should do your cardio before or after you train, that's gonna be at this timestamp here. I wanna do a little bit of housekeeping, get you guys caught up, what's going on, life and otherwise. So some like major things have been happening. So I went away for a week. Last Wednesday, my family, my parents, my wife, my son, we all went down to Fort Myers where my sister lives. And we got a house for a week right on the beach and kind of just did some beach stuff. It did rain for 3 days. And while that was happening, of course, the tragic events that are going on in Houston. Now, as someone who's from Florida, I've experienced a lot of hurricane type atmospheres in my life, and people associate hurricanes with the wind and all that stuff, but really the worst part about hurricanes is the rain, because the rain brings with it a lot of like power outages, flooding. It's difficult to get people in and out of places. So my friend Emily Hayden, my client Emily Hayden, she's more than a client at this point. She made a really good video. I'm gonna put the link to the video below. If you're interested in giving to the relief funds that are going on, I highly recommend it. Yeah, I've seen this stuff firsthand, so it's very near and dear to my heart as a Floridian. What is going on in Texas, it will take them months or years to recover from some of the stuff that's going on. It's crazy to think about Katrina happening in New Orleans, and a lot of those people relocated to Houston, and now they're dealing with a lot of these same issues. So there was that, and then there was obviously 2 huge deaths in the bodybuilding industry, and I don't really consider myself a part of the bodybuilding industry, as it were. Like, I guess in my own way I am, and I don't really know the 2 individuals that passed away, Dallas and Rich, very well. I did have lunch with Dallas McCarver a few months back, myself, Aaron Singerman, a couple of the Redcon crew, and Lane all sat down and had Dallas, and I mean, obviously I was impressed with his size. You know, he is probably one of the largest bodybuilders that's ever walked the earth. I mean, he was literally, you know, over 300 pounds at 6'3". I mean, just a massive guy. And it's really sad to see him go, because he was actually one of the few people that I think could have become Mr. Olympia. You know, we've only had a handful of Mr. Olympias. I think we're up to 13 in the history of the contest that have won the title. And I think he could have done that. And at 26 years old, you know, he obviously had so much left to do in his life and to prove. And it's really sad to see him go. The one thing that struck me about him when I met him was how very polite he was, how driven he was. He just talked about, you know, it stuck to me. I think I mentioned the potential, and he said he hated the term potential. He, you know, he wanted stuff realized. And so big loss for a lot of people. And then the Rich Piana, you know, people have asked me in my comments to comment on the Rich Piana situation. I just don't know enough about him. I'm very open-minded, and I realize that Rich Piana probably strikes a lot of people in a very strange way, because he chose to live his life in a very different manner than a lot of people would choose. But he was also like a very happy, boisterous person. You know, I've been someone that's traveled around the world the last couple of years, and everywhere I go, I see him. I saw him in Australia. You know, I obviously see him at all the big expos and conventions, and anywhere you go, he's got the longest line. And so he's doing something right if he has that kind of loyal following and fan base. Was his message for me? I don't know. I didn't really listen to his message. As someone who puts out a lot of content these days, and my focus is on my coaching business, I don't consume a lot of content, so I don't really know what he was about. I know obviously he was very, you know, eye-catching, and he probably took a lot of flack for that, but I had no ill will. I never heard a bad thing about him. You know, it seemed like he was just a good dude, living his life, working hard. I know he moved here to the Tampa area not too long ago to build a business here, and even then I had heard nothing but good things about him. So obviously two major losses in the bodybuilding world that, you know, directly impact a lot of people, and it just makes you want to appreciate everything that you have, because there's no promises, there's no tomorrows promised, and it's just a reality that we have to face. And so this year's Olympia is going to be a little strange. You know, there's going to be probably a different feeling about it, because we're going to be dealing with so much change that's going on. I mean, Rich was probably the most popular person at the expos the last couple of years that I've seen. I mean, his line stretched outside the building. It was very much like Dana and Bailey stuff, like, you know, just huge, massive following. So it's going to be interesting to see what the feeling around the Olympia is like, which is coming up in like 3 weeks. So we'll see you in Vegas. I will be there. But yeah, so that's it. Vacation went great. It rained a bunch of days, and then we got a bunch of nice beach days back to back. If you watch my Instagram stories, you know that I got my son a lot of ice cream and toys, and we had fun on the beach. And now we're back to reality. And reality and my vacation are not that different in the regards that I still work on vacation, which may sound crazy to a lot of people, but you know, my work is something I really love doing. I get up and I'm excited about it, so I don't need to take like complete breaks from work. I don't need to like step away from my life completely. We just go to a place where it's convenient for us to spend time together as a tight-knit family on the beach, and that provides the break that we need, and now we're back to it. And what's really exciting for me is my wife, who after our son was born, quit her job at Chase. She was actually doing very well at Chase. She was a district manager and ran several branches of Chase. Well, she never went back to work after that, and so now she has studied on her own at home and passed her real estate licensing exam, and is now actually a licensed broker here in Tampa. So she's back to work. So she's been dropping my son off at the daycare 2 days a week, driving out to St. Pete, getting her training done with her new brokerage. It's called Remax Metro Tampa. And so yeah, once her training's done, she's going to start listing homes and start selling and buy. It's very exciting for me because she's so passionate about real estate. Like, she literally just sits and looks at homes, and we watch HGTV all the time. So it's going to be really nice for her. She's moving on, finding her career. And yeah, it's exciting, because one of the most attractive things about her to me was how driven she was when we met, and that has not stopped. She's an amazing mother, and just the family we built, and I'm excited about her getting back to working and doing something that she loves. So yeah, it's been a lot going on, and now that we're back here, a lot of things are starting to ramp up. I have the Olympia, then after that I have my camp that I hold every year here in Tampa, and that's going to be fun, because I have some amazing people like Dr. Joe and Katie Rutherford coming, and George Rosado, and Dr. Bill Campbell will speak there, and Lauren Conlon. And it's just going to be a great event where kind of my clients and people that I'm close with, we all come together for a long weekend of training and eating. And then right after that's my bodybuilding show that I host, the OCB Florida West Coast Classic. If you're looking for a natural bodybuilding show in Tampa, well, come on down. November 11th in Tampa is an amazing time to be outside. It's like 80 degrees, no humidity. We have it at USF, and it's just a great event. It's an amazing auditorium. The lighting's great, and I really make sure it's a first-class event for all the competitors. The show starts at 1 and it runs through till about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. No break. We get a little bit of a break just for the judges, but really I just try to get everyone in, do the show, get them out, make sure it's a great experience. So yeah, if you're in the area or interested in natural bodybuilding, go to tampanatural.com and check it out. So sorry for all the rambling, but I had a lot of stuff on my mind, and if you don't like the rambling, there's probably other channels that are better for you. This channel is just for me to kind of express what's going on in my life, with my coaching, with my business, with my friends and family. And then I like to give you some information. So here's the information. And again, let's talk about cardio. So someone asked me a question the other day: should you do cardio before or after you lift weights? And to me, it seems like a very simple answer, but that's because I've kind of worked it out in my head over the years. And so let's talk about what the answer may be. Now, it's very common to say you should do your cardio after you train for this reason. When you train, you deplete glycogen. Then you go do cardio, you burn fat. That's actually logically false, okay? It's a fallacy. The idea that you totally deplete glycogen while you're training, it just doesn't happen. You see, when you train with resistance, you burn through some calories, but you're not doing enough sets and reps to completely burn off all the glycogen in your muscle. That would take a lot of training. And for bodybuilding purposes, we're trying to build muscle, keep muscle. We're not doing endurance type reps like that. We're not doing. Now, let's say you do deplete a lot of glycogen while you're training. Would you then burn fat? Well, the substrate that's used for the cardio, it's not dependent on what you did before. It's dependent on the intensity of the cardio session, right? So lower intensity cardio sessions are going to be more dependent on fat burning as fuel. So what I really aim to have my clients do is do their cardio after they train. And it's only for this reason. It's not because there's any magic about that. It's simply because once you've done trained, your training is done, you can now focus on the cardio in a way that it kind of just lets your mind escape, you're recovering, and I don't want the training to be compromised. Now, when calories get low in prep, or during a fat loss phase, what I actually start to suggest is that you split up your cardio and training session. Again, there's no magic to it, but here's why. Let's say you get up in the morning and do your 20, 30 minute cardio session, right? And then you go do your day, and then you go train at night, 6, 7 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whenever time would be. When you do your cardio in the morning, it's out of the way. You don't think about it anymore. When you go back to the gym at night, you know all you have to go is into the gym and crush the weights for whatever, an hour, right? You're not constantly thinking about, while you're on each set and rep, that you need to stop what you're doing and worry about your cardio. Your mind is fresh. I've noticed myself, I tend to do this, like when I'm deep into prep and I have a long workout going and I have cardio to do afterwards, it just can kind of negatively impact me. I can start to make deals with myself. All right, I just need to do this so I can get to my cardio. So overall, I prefer that when strength and muscle building and retention is the primary focus, that the cardio is not done directly before it. I just don't want to negatively impact my ability to push weights, lift, impact. Now, when would I suggest that cardio be done before resistance training? Well, when the goal shifts. So if your goal goes from being muscle building and muscle retention in a physique sport to something like an endurance sport, well, you are maybe working on an Ironman, working on a marathon, something like this, a 5K, 10K, now we can start to say, well, perhaps the cardio is the more important factor, and we're doing the resistance training more as a way to augment and make sure that we don't lose muscle during our endurance endeavors. So we would go in, do our run, do our swim, do our bike, whatever kind of cardio that you need to do, whatever kind of exercise, then go lift some weights, right? Is this optimal? It depends. There's no such thing as optimal, but I think it's worth trying it that way because, again, your focus is going to be on the event that you're building towards, right? So if you're building towards a bodybuilding show, we want to keep your muscle. If you're building towards a long distance run, we want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your endurance training. You don't want to do resistance training first and then cut your endurance stuff short. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. That's how I recommend it. If you can split up the sessions morning and night, wonderful. If you can't, cardio after resistance training. If you have to, then cardio first for an endurance event. That's kind of where I go. Again, it comes down, it's not always black and white, it comes down to many things, and you know, those are things I discuss with my clients specifically, but perhaps this advice will help you guys in your goals. That's going to be it for me today. It's Wednesday. I got some messages that I haven't put a video out in 4 days, and I apologize, but guess what? I'm back. You guys have an awesome week, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
By myself.